Today on Pull Start Stables, let's have a little chit chat. This here is a 1960 or 61 wheel horse Suburban. It has the 2-piece cast iron transmission, the 3-speed. So it's later 60, maybe 61. I don't remember much about the hoods, the push-pulls, and the levers, so it's not that big of a deal. Not much of it's stock anyway, so we're just gonna have a little chit-chat about this thing. I think it's been 2 years, give or take, that my wife and I left town on Mother's Day, and we drove from our Michigan home all the way to Williams, North Dakota. They have like the world's largest buffalo, I think it is. It's a big statue. Enough with my geography lesson. We were in North Dakota, and we picked up 4 wheel horse Suburbans. One of them is up there hanging. It looks really nice, but all in all, it had a lot of questionable works done to it. So that's why I decided it would be better to hang up there. It looks really cool, it's unique. So I took that thing apart. I hung it up to the ceiling of my shop, one piece at a time pretty much, put it back together upside down. We got Justin case, the orange, yellow case themed Suburban, and then we got a really nice Suburban that at last year's plow day, our first year, we got it going and zoomed it around, and I think the 2 that ran that were complete enough to run were 551s with Tecumsehs. And so if I look, yeah, that's what this should be as well. So I'm looking at another one right there. So this should be a 551, so 1961 Suburban. And okay, so that was a Suburban 400 because it's got the levers like this. Look at me learning things. And so the 2 551s run quite well. The really shiny red one is a good runner and a clean runner, and just in case runs good but blows oil around quite a bit out of the crankcase vent. So who knows when Justin's time will come that his well patinaed engine needs to skedaddle for something different. And then there was this one, and this one was like a project that was started and then returned to stock-ish and looked really good in the pictures, but I never saw the things that were a little bit funky with it until we started to build it a few weeks back. And the reason we built it is because of that little tiny 1/2 horsepower kickstart engine. It's got good compression. I do want to see if I can find another spark plug before the show because I want to get it running at the show. So this is a Briggs & Stratton WMB 1/2 horsepower wash machine engine. And I believe the way the configuration it should be is that this exhaust should be pointing straight back, and there's a little knurl on this pipe here that you can just spin some like flexible electrical conduit on, and that's the exhaust. The muffler itself is in this shoulder bolt, pipe threaded shoulder bolt, and there's holes in it that disperses the noise and exhaust and then comes through this little casting and out. So There's no muffler exterior of the engine. It's all right in that fitting. And I think you can see it has an 1/8 inch copper line for a fuel line. That's all it had, and apparently it ran on that. So I'm going to take the previous owner's word for it that it ran. It's never had spark. So in order to clear things on the transmission and on the engine, we had to block it up here. And part of it too is that the shroud, the flywheel shroud, goes below this surface. So I had to mount this up a little bit with a lift kit to get it onto the frame. But I always thought, man, that would just fit so well under a Suburban. I've got to try it. Or under a nut roaster. I don't care if it was an RJ or Suburban. So we mounted the engine. The fuel tank was in line as far as a level goes with this bottom surface. So I also blocked it up with the same 1.5 inch 2x4 thickness. So that's that. Our exhaust tubing here is the remnants of a fence screened in, whatever, the area around a trampoline. And it's just a piece of galvanized tubing that happened to fit here. And I did a whole bunch of pie cuts and slightly crude MIG welds. And I cut the tip off and made my exhaust pipe. Underneath this fan shroud here is the governor and throttle, and let's see, I don't know if I can even get to it, but some way, somehow, right about here, there's a sail, and as this fan is moving air, it's a 100% governed engine. So as it's moving air, it's trying to run wide open throttle, but this sail is pushing on an arm that is limiting the throttle. So this should be just 100% governed. We just fire it up and it just runs whatever speed it wants to. There is a little adjustment back here. There's a screw to adjust. And then this is the choke. And this just blows my mind. Let's see if we can get you in a little closer. This hole right here is the intake. You can see it right there. It's like the size of a number 2 pencil eraser, and there is one on either side. So 2 number 2 pencils intake is all this thing has. 1/8 inch fuel line, probably a 1/16 inch ID. There's a check valve that kind of dances a little bit in this little fitting here. So as there's vacuum from the carburetor pulling fuel up, it just stays in line. So that should be simple. This thing had no spark when I got it. I think I have explained that. And so I did a little rework to the coil assembly based on some of my buddy John's suggestion. And I have a new coil in place. I need to finish wiring it. We've got to set our points gap. We got to set our coil gap on this shroud. And the plan is to make it run at the show. So it's good enough to get there. All the hard parts are done, I believe. So that's that. This clutch and brake arm is a little unique because I did not have the correct 551 brake clutch arm, so I created one. This is a brake lever for, what was that, for a Raider 10 or something like that. It's painted a little bit maroon, so I remember it's from Leroy. And I just welded another arm on, so now the clutch works and the brake works just like it's supposed to. let's talk about this funky front end. I never knew that this was a wrong set of spindles until I put tires on it. And when I rolled this out of the barn into the shop, I got looking, and I really think that these are taller 300 series spindles for a 6-inch wheel. And the axle would have had some camber in it to stand this up. So this is a factory bent wheel horse 312, we'll say, or 308 or 310 spindle. And since it's on the Suburban cast axle with 0 camber, it looks goofy like that. So people have mentioned a couple funny things. When are you going to fix it? It's not broke. It just looks different than your tractor. And they say, why are you ruining a perfectly good tractor? Well, this is not ruining a thing. All of these parts are bolt-on, and I could kind of care less about what people think about my tractor. It makes me happy, and that's really why I'm building it. I'm excited. The front end of this frame was cut off right here, and somebody had started to build a tricycle front kit for this tractor, and my thoughts or beliefs is that they were going to cut these spindles apart and use one of the cambers to make the tricycle front end where the tires almost touch. And that makes your scrub line very close together, and it helps the steering. Now, having these way out and maybe not ideal, it might not steer that great, but I've got a 0.5 horsepower. I'm not gonna go that fast. It'll be okay. Works good to me. So with these big tall spindles up front and the 8-inch wheels up front, the front end of the tractor was pretty. Someone mentioned that it kind of looked like it had that Carolina squat, and that's not what I was going for. I was looking more like hot rod gasser, tall front end. I thought that was kind of cool. But either way, I went, well, I should try to level the frame a little bit. And so I went with these Interco Interforce 750 12s, and these are actually fluid filled, and I have another set of 2710 12s on some C-Series wheels, and they are they're a little bit wider overall, and they're also painted like an almond color. So I'm considering still swapping those just for weight savings on the trailer, and maybe just for a different look. I don't know. But in order to clear these fenders and the toolbox, I also had to use another piece of 2x 1.5 inches and block the whole toolbox and seat and everything up. But I think it looks pretty good. Then it gave me another issue where the straight shifter that was on this was hitting the seat. So I put a bent shifter in place. I really think all I'm ever going to be able to use is first gear or reverse. So I'm not looking for speed. I'm just looking to putt this thing around. I think it's pretty cool. Let me know what you think about this tractor. Let me know what you think about all of the shorts series of this build. So I really didn't show a whole lot of the work being done. I just showed updates of what was done. And I would do some work and make a video. So let me know what you think about that. I think I do prefer to build and talk and make videos and not shorts. But it seems like there's a lot of traffic on my channel for people watching the shorts on this. So, you know, there's that. I think I've covered everything. Let me know if you have questions. I don't think the lift is hooked up to anything. It is not. So I won't be plowing with this thing at the plow day this fall. I won't be doing any work. I might stick a drawbar on it so I can pull a trailer around, but that's that. I appreciate you watching, and I hope you're having a great day.